Okay, ladies and gentlemen, example 4. I feel like I'm really getting to know this example. This example has been one that we're really getting to know. So let's take a look at example 4. Notice I'm giving you some points. I'm giving you those points because those are the points I want you to use. I won't do that on a test, and I won't do that in your homework. You'll be able to pick any points that you want. Please pick good points. Notice this is a bad point to pick because it's in between the lines. You don't really know what the coordinates are. Notice this would also be a bad point to pick. Okay, so you need to pick points that work out well. So I'm giving you this point, which is 4, 5. And I'm giving you this point, which is 12, 3. And I'm asking you to determine the equation of the line between these 2 points, and it continues all the way through. So the first thing we do is go for slope, which is rise over run. Now, the easiest way to do slope in this situation is to do your run, which, again, pretend you're being chased by a bear. You're going to run horizontally as fast as you can, and we run left to right, and then you're going to go down. That's your rise. So your rise is actually going down, so it's a negative rise. So that's -2 for your rise. And your run was 8 units. So you've got an 8-unit run and a -2 unit rise, which is going to give you -2 over 8. Now that needs to be reduced. That needs to be reduced to 1 over 4. I divide the top by 2, I divide the bottom by 2, and it's going to be -1 over 4. Another way to do an example like this, and we're going to get to that in just a minute, but I want to prove that it works, which is kind of ironic, but I want to prove that it works, and I'm going to use the formula. M equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So this is delta y, if you remember from our earlier videos. This is delta x. This is my rise. The change in the y's is my rise, and the changes in my x are my run. So delta y over delta x, and that's from an earlier video. So I have to choose one of these points to be my first point. So I'll call this point 1 just because it came first. And I'll call this point 2 just because it came second. So what this will be is, this will be x1 and y1, meaning this is the y that goes with x1 and they both go with point 1. This will be x2 and y2, meaning this is the y that goes with this x, which goes with this point. So those are called subscripts. So it's going to be 3, y2 is 3, minus 5 over top of. Now that should give me -2, right? And it does, because that was my rise, -2. Over top of x2, which is 12, minus 4, which is 8. So I'm getting -2 over 8. Notice it's the same as what I had over here. This time I didn't count it. I let the numbers do the work. And this becomes -1 over 4. So my point is that I can do this using just the coordinates, just the numbers, and I can do this by having the graph and counting. Sometimes one's easier than the other. Okay? Next, I have a point. What point are they giving me? Substitute any of the 2 points, x or y, to solve for b. Now, we want to solve for b. We think, because this was a bad example, I really shouldn't use this example, because we think we can read b from here. We think we can read b from there. It looks like b equals 6. It really, really does, doesn't it? Okay, which means at this point, 0, 6, that would be my b, my y-intercept. But I want to find it using a different method. I want to prove to you, like I proved here, that we can do it with just the numbers. So remember, we have y equals mx plus b. We figured out that m was equal to -1 over 4. Let's determine b using substitution. And what that means is we're going to get this. Y equals -1 over 4x plus b. That's what we know so far. Let's use one of the 2 points. I'm going to use 4, 5 because it's this point. That means when x equals 4, then y equals 5. That's what points mean. When x equals 4, y equals 5. So I'm going to take x equals 4 and put it in here for the x. And I'm going to take y equals 5 and I'm going to put it in here for the y. So what that's going to look like is 5 equals negative 1 over 4 times 4 plus b. And notice what you've done. You've created a simple 2-step or maybe 3-step equation to solve for b. What you do is we use order of operations, BEDMAS, and BEDMAS says to do the multiplication first. So negative 4 times 4, or sorry, negative 1/4 times 4, however, is going to be negative 1. Then we take the negative 1 over to the other side, and it becomes 6 equals b. And we learn that b equals 6, which is what we thought it was up here. So the numbers work, and they give us the same answer that we would have expected if we took it from the graph. So we know that y equals mx plus b. We found that m was equal to negative 1/4. We did that 2 different ways. We did it from the graph and with the numbers. We found that b equaled 6. We did that 2 different ways. We did it with the graph and with the numbers. And you end up with this answer. Or the book might give the answer like this. Both are fine. Both work just as well. So we did some substitutions there. I'm going to pause the video and we'll be back with the next example.